We registered the Transylvanian Wildlife Project last year in 2011 as a non-profit organisation. As many countries, especially in the east of Europe, are under a lot of economic pressure, there's quite intensive logging here. It's very easy to look at the environment as a resource only, to take all the trees, and as soon as the trees goes, all the large carnivores will go, and the ecosystem here would collapse, and we'll end up with an environment very similar to Scotland, where it's barren of most of its trees and most of its large carnivores. Whereas here you really do feel like you're in the wilderness when you walk into the forest. The Transylvanian Wildlife Project is made up of biologists, trackers, conservationists and enthusiasts, and I count myself as more of an enthusiast than a professional wildlife conservationist. As director, I coordinate activities from fundraising to public awareness. We also have an education officer who is responsible for putting together education packages for schools, not just in Romania but also in the West. We would like to emphasise the educational importance of wildlife conservation here, so the young people, especially in Romania, can see how beautiful and what a unique place that they live in. A lot of people don't go to the forest because they have these fears of bears and wolves, and we would like to sort of demonstrate to them that you don't need to, as long as you show certain precautions and behave sensibly while you're in a wilderness environment, that it is a safe place to be and that this place is worth protecting for future generations. We also want to demonstrate the uniqueness of man's relationship with large carnivores in this area. This at the moment is being performed by the transhumance shepherds, who for generations have been living in the mountains from spring into autumn. They graze their sheep on interforest meadows. Once they've grazed an area, they then move on to another meadow, and they do this right through to the autumn. There's this unique relationship where, as these shepherds move through the forest, they're constantly having to guard their livelihood, and yet the wolves and the bears will take their opportunity to have a quick and easy meal. We can learn a lot from the shepherds, because even if their lambs or sheep are taken, they never call for bears to be shot or killed or driven out of this area. They accept them as part of this environment, and that's something that we've lost in the West. We need to look at preserving this particular area if we are serious about maintaining large carnivores in Europe. We meet up 3 to 4 times a year for a period of 2 to 3 weeks of field work. This is a combination of visual recording of data, not just actual wildlife but also wildlife signs. So we have a very good tracker called Gol Laszlo, and we will look for signs of wildlife where there is a lot of activity. Then we can set up camera traps and record activity, and with the introduction of camera traps, this is probably our most important tool, because wildlife can continue to behave in their normal, natural way without being sedated, collared, and we will choose sample areas to do this field work so we can see what activity is actually in any particular area. And as all conservationists know, often the numbers of large carnivores such as wolves and bears will indicate the health of the environment. We're looking for partners as well, so we're always willing to help universities and other educational institutions. We're very much practical people. We like to be outside and we like to do a practical job in conservation rather than theorising. So if you would like to see active conservation in action, then we're the organisation for you.